years, Lake Karapiro was better known as a base for New Zealand's top rowing crews, but a couple of times each year the silence is broken by the country's fastest race boats. Formula One racer Sam Hughes explains more about the start and race procedures.
Basically, we line up pole positions 1 through 12. Yes, that's really boats. We've got standing start on the beach. There'll be a guy out in the middle of the track with 2 flags. He'll drop the first flag. The second flag you can drop within 1 to 30 seconds, and then you hit the start button and you're going for the first board. I think everyone's got to sort of work it out from there. It is quite busy. There's a lot of boats. There's a lot of wash and rooster tails. So you've got to get around there. You've got to find some clean water, and if you can get away clean, then you can sort of dictate the race from there.
So Lake Karapiro was the second round of the National Championships, and after hot laps, Sam Hughes was the top qualifier in unfinished business. And those points carrying through for the championship. Anthony Robinson making some big passes, went down the inside of Jeff Price here at the top part of the course, with Julian Stillwell and Sam Hughes making contact during this first race. Relatively flat conditions, overcast overhead, and to the end of the race, it was chill out. Ryan Birch taking third place overall in the number 06 machine. Second, it would be Anthony Robinson in the Barber Hull Design Windows. But taking out the first heat, current national champion Luke Sharp in the newly named Zenith Technica, taking out top points for heat number 1.
Yeah, we did have some clean water. We started in pole 7, so we were really lucky to get out in front. 6 boats to get round is quite challenging, but once we got the clean water, we extended our lead and had a really smooth run. I know that right-hander, when we came up on some lap traffic, really slowed us down, and the other teams were affected by that. But we had good water and enjoyed the lead.
Yeah, no, we're quite happy with our result in race 1. We got our 4th, and we had to start 11th from the back of the pack because we're leading the tour at this stage. So yeah, we managed to get all the way up to 4th, which is, you know, we're pretty happy with that. There's some fast guys out there, but no, actually it was definitely an action-packed race, that's for sure.
So it was Luke Sharp in Zenith Technica taking out the first heat of the Formula One tunnels from Lake Karapiro. Anthony Robinson in Design Windows in second. Ryan Birch in Chill Out third, ahead of Julian Stillwell, Jeff Price, Philip Stillwell, Steve Priest in seventh. Problems for Sam Hughes, Nick Coles, Derek McAdam and Brendan Corns, all DNFs in heat 1. On to the second heat and another beach start, one of the unique facets of the Formula One tunnel hull sport. Not a bad place to be, sitting down on the beach. Hole shot from Sam Hughes, an unfinished business. And all of the drivers have to hold their line up into the top turn off the beach start. Luke Sharp to his outside in second. Malcolm Jamieson with a better start. Had some issues in the first heat in Rayglass. Brand new DAC hull. But Sam Burgess out in front. Running the Burgess, Mercury power. Again, pretty much ideal conditions as we go on board with Julian Stillwell. Jamieson to his outside, just up ahead, you can see Luke Sharp. And Zenith Technica looking back on board with Philip Stillwell, running the SBR hull. Sam Hughes streaking out to an early lead, just about perfect conditions. Slightly overcast, very little wind. Sam Hughes with the whole shot, and he's leading in the early laps of heat number 2 for the Formula One tunnels here on Lake Karapiro. Anthony Robinson in the Barber hull. All of these boats running the 2.5 litre plus Mercury 2-stroke outboards, battle for third. Between Robinson, Julian Stillwell in Scott Construction, boat number 3, that's a Seabold hull. And Malcolm Jamieson in Rayglass, back on board with Stillwell. Sam Hughes, your race leader, just top of shot, already made the turn. Great turn there from Stillwell. You can see how much ground he made up on Robinson. So the leaders now coming up on the back markers. Sam Hughes has already got past some of the slower boats. Great lineup for the second round of the National Championship. Back on board with Stillwell. Stillwell brothers, the Stillwell family, have been involved in powerboat racing in New Zealand for so many years. Certainly one of the mainstays of this fantastic class, as has the Hughes family. Sam Hughes showing them the way in this second heat. It's this battle for third. Robinson, Stillwell with Jamieson just to the left and inside. Best battle on the racecourse for third position. Sam Hughes looks to have them covered out front. Luke Sharp trying to make some ground up in Zenith Technica. Hughes going by Chill Out. Ryan Birch finished on the podium in the first heat. A little bit quiet here in heat number 2, taking a wider line as the leader goes down the inside, Sam Hughes. Current national champion Luke Sharp, New Zealand built and designed hull, carbon fibre. Boats produced in New Zealand, the US, Europe. Of course, up in the United Arab Emirates as well, which is one of the strongholds of the sport in the world, the Formula One tunnels. New boat for Anthony Robinson this year. This is his old boats. Steve Priest and TNT, KRB hull. Designed and built here in New Zealand by Malcolm Jamieson down in the South Island. So quite a diverse range of hulls featuring in the New Zealand Formula One Tunnel Championship. Stillwell trying to make up ground on Robinson, who looks to have him covered likewise. Hughes over Luke Sharp. South Island's Anthony Robinson in third. Here's back to the race leader, Sam Hughes, doing it easy here in heat number 2. Been working his way through further lap traffic. One of the smaller Formula 2 class boats. Flying down the front straight. The spectator area here on the bank at Lake Karapiro, you're only probably 100 feet off the racecourse, right close down to the action. Absolutely amazing venue here in Cambridge, better known for rowing. I'll tell you what, one of the best layouts for circuit racing for boats in the world, without a doubt. Sam Hughes just putting on a clinic here in heat number 2. A big lead over Luke Sharp. Zenith Technica, new sponsor for Sharp this season. Current national champ. Big gap back to third and fourth now. It's still Robinson. Holding off Julian Stillwell. Malcolm Jamieson in fifth. Jeff Price in sixth and Lone Wolf back on board with Stillwell. Number 3, Scott Construction. Just running through the wash, trying to gain an advantage to close that gap to Robinson. Just on that back straight shot, you can see how little of the boat sits in the water in a straight line. Down to the checkered flag. Sam Hughes is celebrating. He's going to take the victory here in heat number 2, and he did it easily in the end. Zenith Technica in second, and the battle in third, it will be Anthony Robinson in Design Windows, boat number 21. Narrowly holding off Julian Stillwell in Scott Construction. Sam Hughes taking out the victory in heat 2 in unfinished business from Luke Sharp, Anthony Robinson, Julian Stillwell, Malcolm Jamieson, Jeff Price completing the top 6 in Lone Wolf, ahead of Philip Stillwell, Steve Priest, Ryan Birch, Brendan Corns and Derek McAdam.
Yeah, it's always pretty busy in that first corner, and it's always you're always pretty happy when you get out in one piece. So, yeah, I mean, we left in pole 3 and we finished in 3, so we were pretty happy.
Hi, I'm Steve Priest, driver of the TNT F1 tunnel. Been in the sport for probably 8-9 years. This is probably the first time back on the track in 4 calendar years. We had a bit of a accident here at Karapiro, so it's the first time back on the water. Formula One racing, great sport, absolutely fantastic, and I love it.
Heat 3 of 4 here at Lake Karapiro for the New Zealand Formula One Tunnel Series. Public Enemy on the pole. Boat number 87, Nick Coles. Great start from Malcolm Jamieson. Look how tight it is in there in the middle for Julian Stillwell. Sam Burgess went around him on the run up to turn 1 again. Boats having to hold their line up onto the approach to turn number 1. Fantastic start also for Steve Priest in KRB Racing. Total chaos in third, not for long though. Here comes a flying Sam Burgess up into second on the opening lap, chasing down the DAC hull of Malcolm Jamieson, former national champion. Bit of a moment there for Steve Priest on the inside. Hughes takes advantage around the outside. It's a little bit flatter down the southern end of this course. The water will get churned up with the amount of boats around there for heat number 3. There is Steve Priest gaining time every time he goes out, gaining in confidence after that big crash here on Lake Karapiro a few years ago. Back on board with Philip Stillwell. You can see how much the power heads move around on the back of these boats. Very, very physical, especially when the water starts chopping up with the amount of traffic on the racecourse. On board with Julian Stillwell and Scott Construction, boat number 3, looking for some clean air, some clean water. Jeff Price and Lone Wolf ahead of Steve Priest now in TNT. New Zealand Design and Built, KRB hull. Good run here for Steve Priest in heat number 3. As I said, every time the boat hits the water, Steve gets faster and faster. It's Luke Sharp launches down the inside of Stillwell. Battle inside the top 6. This battle continuing on from heat number 2. Not a lot of vision here for Stillwell. A lot of the crews will run a Rain-X type product on the screens to clear the water, but that water does not look to be clearing on the number 3 Scott Construction boat here. There's Sharp down the inside, 3 wide on the northern end of the course. Sharp down the inside in Zenith Technica. He hoses down the TNT boat of Steve Priest, who loses some ground, and Stillwell goes by as well. Out in front, though, it's Malcolm Jamieson. This is the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Sam Hughes in 2nd. Jeff Price and Lone Wolf in 3rd. Great shot here from Anthony Robinson, who's a little bit further back than he would have liked in design windows. This is just in front of the powerhead, looking back towards the cockpit. Approaching speeds close to 200 kilometres an hour. A relatively short course here on Lake Karapiro. Anthony Robinson out of the South Island. Just outside the top 5. Race leader, though, is Malcolm Jamieson in Ray Glass. You can see a little bit of a different aero package with the bodywork on this boat, the DAC hull. This type of boat dominating on the world scene in Europe, up in the United Arab Emirates. Renowned boat builder and a very, very good racer in his own right, Malcolm Jamieson. Also had a very big hand in designing and building the Annihilator race boats, GP Hydroplane, driven by Warwick Lupton. Like Sam Hughes in heat number 2, looks to be doing this pretty comfortable in heat number 3, 777 Ray Glass of Malcolm Jamieson. Again, approaching speeds of 200 kilometres an hour in heavy lap traffic. Final lap, the white flag is out on the race course. Jamieson with some lap traffic to negotiate. Back on board with Jeff Price. Running in 3rd, Price has had some issues with the rear bodywork lifting on this boat. We saw that on the downtown flying lap coverage from Wanganui. You can just see some of the bodywork just has become dislodged here on the final lap. Looking for a top 3 because we've lost Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is out of the race. Malcolm Jamieson will take the victory in heat number 3, but dramas for Sam Hughes. He will not make the finish. 2nd will be Luke Sharp in Zenith Technica. And this boat here, Jeff Price and Lone Wolf, will finish in 3rd. The Hoffman hull. Podium finish for Jeff Price. Malcolm Jamieson with the victory from Luke Sharp, Jeff Price and Lone Wolf. Julian Stillwell and Scott Construction. Anthony Robinson and Steve Priest complete the top 6. Going back through the field, Philip Stillwell, Ryan Birch and Chill Out, Brendan Corns, Public Enemy, and Derek McAdam in the chase. A DNF for Sam Hughes.
Yeah, we've had a pretty bad start to the this weekend, and we've had a few handling problems, but we've just changed a couple of things, and just to move up that field and get a clean start, you go.
Oh, I tell you, that was much better than I thought we'd do it. It's pretty hard to come from 11th, fight through the field to second, and then when we got in front, we could see Malcolm making gains on him, but we're stoked with second. We were happy with middle of the pack with a start like that.
Yeah, Sam pulled in, and I thought there was something happened, a red flag or something. So Julian went past, and I thought, Luke went past, and Julian's coming. So put it back in, and then we had our usual battle.
So like it kicked off way back in 1924 when the Mason and Porter boys built a little boat, Miss Massport, and they went out and cleaned up everything. They're the fastest boat ever, and they decided to make a trophy in 1925, and it's been going ever since. They had a few years off for the war and what have you, but when we were busy building grenades and that for the war effort, and then they're back into it. And these guys, Peter Knight especially, has had a huge history in the Massport Cup. The boys from Taranaki, the Luptons and the Alexanders, have been huge in the last few years, and it's really exciting times. Just to come out here, I live locally here, and to come down here and watch them ripping around here, it's awesome.
It's something else. It has something to it.
It makes it very special.
It does, yes, it does. It's a special race.
GP hydroplanes are on the water. Also a couple of Grand National boats and a Formula One tunnel with Steve Priest for the 90th running of one of New Zealand's oldest motorsport trophies, the Massport Cup. Warwick Lupton gets the whole shot. Raymond Hart to his outside, gets shut down in a wall of water. What can't you see out the front of that race boat? And Hart's got to get out of the throttle as they head towards the northern end of this circuit at Lake Karapiro. Lupton with the whole shot. Down the inside, though, it's Son. Jack Lupton in GP 57. It's a drag race down the front straight. Flat conditions, but there is some rain in the air here on the lake, which may not help visibility. When you talk about visibility, with 100-foot high rooster tails generated from these 1,500-plus horsepower monsters. Side by side for the lead. Annihilator race boats with Warwick Lupton out in front, multi-time world champion, Massport Cup winner, EC Griffith Cup winner. There is nothing in the world of GP hydroplane racing, basically, that Warwick Lupton has not won. But to his inside, it's the newest of the Lupton family in these race boats, Jack. Back to Ken Lupton, Jack's older brother, and Lucas Oils, another brand new race boat for Ken Lupton this season. Boat running in Lucas Oil colours. That's a Henderson old hull. 2010. Down the inside, Jack Lupton. GP 57. He's got the inside run. Warwick Lupton to his outside in Annihilator race boats. Going for a ride on board with one of the newest members of the GP Hydroplane Club in New Zealand, Jack Lupton. Did a part season in 2014, I think his first full season. And these wonderful GP hydroplanes just churning through that rougher water. He's still got the inside line. And solidly now the race lead, but here comes Dad. Warwick Lupton to the outside, blasts on by in Annihilator race boats. Another lead change in the first heat of the Massport Cup, and there's some lap traffic coming up. Some of the smaller Grand National type boats and the F1 tunnels also eligible to run in the Massport Cup. Lupton holding on to that inside line. It's Warwick Lupton out in front, going by Miss Aberdeen, one of the Grand National boats. Ford small block power as opposed to the big 510 cubic inch plus big blocks, supercharged on methanol. White flag coming up, and they're still pretty much side by side. Warwick Lupton back in front in Annihilator race boats. Looking for the first heat victory here on Lake Karapiro for the Massport Cup. Jack Lupton still with that inside line. Back on board with David Alexander running fifth on the water. A little bit down on speed at the moment in Steeler. Raymond Hart in the boss in fourth. Here comes Jack Lupton back down the inside of Warwick Lupton on the back straight. Annihilator race boats not struggling for straight line speed, but maybe a problem for Lupton on this last lap because Jack's just gone flying by him. To the outside of TNT, gives him a lot of space to the outside, but it's going to be Jack Lupton, victorious in Heat 1 of the Massport Cup. Arguably one of the biggest wins in his relatively short career. And he's beaten the master, Warwick Lupton, who looked like he had a problem on the last lap. Third across the line will be Kenny Lupton and Lucas Oils. But But it's celebrations for Jack Lupton. Fantastic opening heat victory in GP 57. So Jack Lupton with the win. He will carry 400 points towards the second heat. Warwick Lupton in second, Ken Lupton in third ahead of Raymond Hart, David Alexander with Steve Priest in sixth in the TNT Formula One tunnel.
Yeah, it was a very, very tough race. Had the old man on the outside of me. I was pushing very, very hard, and every lap was getting more difficult with all the boats running around there, and ended up finding a whole lot of big rollers in the turns, and really just trying to settle the boats down the straight and keep everything in one piece for heat 2.
Yeah, it was a bit hard work out there for a wee bit, but yeah, we've got another heat to go. But he came up in the end a bit short. I thought I'd actually finished. I'd done the last lap, but obviously haven't. So yeah, we had a couple of issues out there when we were running around. All the power went off in the power steering, and the wings wouldn't work, so we got light 2 or 3 times out there. But no, it was a good race, no problem.
Yeah, like that's our first race back since we put the new cell on the boat and everything, and it's got a new rudder combination on there, so we're having a little bit of difficulty holding it in a straight line. There's a lot of load on the steering wheel, and we get down the end of the straight doing about 7,200, and it starts walking left and right, so I can't quite control it that good at the moment, but we'll make a few more changes and we'll try and get back to where we used to be running 9,000 down the straight.
Welcome back to Lake Karapiro, round 2 of the Formula One National Series and the 90th running of the Motorsport Cup. Second and final heat to come for them. This is the 4th and final heat, round 2 of 5 for the Formula One tunnels. Luke Sharp in Zenith Technica off the pole and gets the whole shot. Anthony Robinson to his right in Design Windows, and to his outside is Julian Stillwell in Scott Construction. See how physical these boats are on turn, and Stillwell gets a little bit of a wash down there as they battle for position in the early laps. 4th and final heat. Points carrying across from hot laps, qualifying, and the 4 heats. On board with Anthony Robinson, this unique shot looking back down the boat. Battling inside the top 3. Still Luke Sharp, current national champion, out in front. Seabold Racing, hull number 3, Scott Construction of Julian Stillwell. And there's Malcolm Jamieson. You can see how different those 2 boats look side by side with the aero profiles back on board with Stillwell. In just about ideal conditions on Lake Karapiro. Overcast, not a lot of sun around as Stillwell makes a wide run. Southern end of the course. In front of the spectators here at Lake Karapiro. Race leader though, New Zealand built and designed. Front parts built by Gordon Robinson, Barracuda Kayaks up in Silverdale, north of Auckland. Carbon fibre hull. Gordon himself a boat racer, but with offshore powerboats. A couple of seasons ago won the New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship for the Superboat Lights class. Anthony Robinson and Stillwell still going at it for 2nd and 3rd. Back on board with Stillwell and Scott Construction. Tight turn that time. He ran a little bit wider on the previous lap. Sucks the boat down, makes the turn a little bit wider off the exit. Robinson just a tidier line off. A little bit more acceleration. Upwards of up to 200 kilometres an hour on water. Malcolm Jamieson in behind Stillwell in the 777 Ray Glass DAC. Sinister looking boat. Quite a different side-on profile to most of the other boats here. Again, we talk about diversity with the different brand of hulls. On board with Philip Stillwell. Running the SBR hull, looking back over the Mercury Powerhead. You can see the buffering that gets. To his outside is Total Chaos. A little bit further down the order. On board with Jeff Price here in Lone Wolf. Up inside the top 6. Solid weekend for Jeff Price. A little bit of ground to make up on the next boats ahead. Which will be Stillwell, Jamieson, and Anthony Robinson. But out in front, it is still Luke Sharp, Zenith Technica, new sponsor for the weekend. Runs the Prompt Parts business up in Auckland, in Manukau, South Auckland. Stillwell trying to chase down the leaders. Fourth and final heat, back on board with Stillwell. Robinson just up ahead. He cannot make up any ground, trying that tighter turn, but he's washing out off the exit. Just losing a little bit of momentum. A lot of changes you can make on these boats to help them with turning. Prop sizes, it's all about acceleration, getting a balance between acceleration and straight line speed and the turning. Whoa, moment there. Luke Sharp down the inside of Chill Out. Chill Out having to take avoiding action. May not have seen him coming down into the turn. Didn't look like it hurt Luke Sharp at all. He's got a pretty good lead here. Heat number 4, second round. The New Zealand Formula One Channel Championship here on Lake Karapiro. Looking for his second win of the weekend. Qualified second behind Sam Hughes. Unfortunately, no Sam Hughes for this fourth heat. As the white flag comes out, Hughes with a technical problem in the third heat. Saw him with a DNF. Winner of the second heat. But for heat number 4, Luke Sharp is not going to be beaten here. Back on board with Anthony Robinson, now up into the second position. Through some of the smaller F2 traffic. That is a great shot, but it's going to be Luke Sharp down to the checkered flag. He will take victory in heat number 4. And with it, more than likely, the round win as well for the current national champion. So Luke Sharp taking the victory from Anthony Robinson, Malcolm Jamieson in third, Jeff Price in fourth, Julian Stillwell fifth, Philip Stillwell in sixth in total. Followed by Ryan Birch and Chill Out, Brendan Corns in Total Chaos, Nick Coles, Derek McAdam, Sam Hughes, a DNS in heat number 4.
Yeah, it's still early on in the season. It's 2 events under our belt, and we've got 3 to go. It's not very many weekends that it goes to plan, but everything worked for us this weekend.
Yeah, we've had a great weekend. I mean, the second there was good. We started in pole 2 and we finished in pole 2, which we were pretty happy about. Yeah, we're probably either second or maybe even leading the tour now after this weekend, so we're pretty happy. I mean, we had a big day yesterday. We had a collision yesterday, and we were lucky that we never punched a hole and we could carry on, and we got a second in that race as well. So yeah, we've had a good weekend.
We thought we'd stay and be in fourth in that one, but obviously Scott Construction had a little bit of a whoopsie there, and we just were trying a few things in that race actually, and we're actually going to go home now, and we've actually think we've found why I can't drive the boat properly and some propellers. So I'm happy with the third just to get out of that one, because we didn't have a very good day yesterday. So yeah, we'll be hoping to go good at Rotowiti.
So with the round victory here at Lake Karapiro, Luke Sharp leads the championship, heading to round number 3 on Lake Rotowiti in Nelson. Anthony Robinson second in the points ahead of Julian Stillwell, Malcolm Robinson, Jeff Price and Sam Hughes. Out of the 6, Philip Stillwell, Ryan Birch, Steve Priest, Nick Coles and Derek McAdam in the chase. You would think GP hydroplanes are all about the brute horsepower, but there are many other changes and adjustments that the teams can make as well over a race weekend.
Yeah, well, basically you're on the throttle control with the horsepower we've got, trying to keep them like just floating above the water, as much of the boat out of the water as you want, you know, so it's not got much friction. And then you've got a front canard wing, which is on a button on your steering wheel for up and down, and use that depending on how much lift there is down each straight, and also drop it in the turn, and that'll lift your boat out of the water more to hook it through the turn. But they turn basically on your rudder and turn fin there, and that's what holds you through the turn. Big fin there like that, and they'll just lock in. Basically turn the wheel, and the more throttle you give it, the harder it'll go in. And these things turn like pretty real awesome for hydroplanes. They're like a lot different than the older ones we used to run years ago, and they'll hang through the turn phenomenal. But we're not probably getting the top speed out of these new boats as we'd hoped just yet, but we're getting around the track probably better. So we've got a little bit more to learn with them, but we're getting there.
And drama for the final heat of the Motorsport Cup. Jack Lupton, Heat 1 winner, is out of the boat trying to get back to the dock area. A problem before the race start. And Lupton will not make this race. Heartbreak for the youngster. Rest of the field assemble on Lake Karapiro again in misty conditions for the second and final heat for the 90th running of the Motorsport Cup. Lake Karapiro erupts. Warwick Lupton down the inside. Ken Lupton in the middle and Lucas Oils. Warwick Lupton in the yellow Annihilator race boats. Ken Lupton in the white, red and blue. Lucas Oils to the outside. Monster Rooster Tails. So no Jack Lupton for the Motorsport Cup at the moment. It falls into the hands of Warwick Lupton, but he's got to get to the finish first. And problems here for Ken Lupton. He's shut down on the front straight. Well, it's all going wrong for the younger Luptons. It's looking good here for Warwick Lupton. Still quite a bit of this race to go, though, for the 90th running of the Motorsport Cup. Annihilator race boats. Grant Rivers built and tuned, 510 cubic inch big block. Underneath the engine cover, there is the prone Ken Lupton on the front straight. They'll have warning flags out on race control. David Alexander now into second in Steeler, still getting to grips with this brand new race boat. He goes to the outside of the stranded Ken Lupton, on board with Raymond Hart in the Bosch GP05, currently third on the water. So this is Warwick Lupton's to lose. He can't afford a DNF. David Alexander with a 5th place in Heat 1. Raymond Hart with a 4th place finish. So this is the newest of the Annihilator team boats. 2012 Henderson Old Hull. 510 cubic inches, around 1,800 plus horsepower. Likewise, Warwick Lupton. Grant Rivers out of Wanganui. A huge task to keep all of these Annihilator boats running. Unlike the Boss, which is based out of the South Island, Raymond Hart's done a great job in this boat over the last couple of seasons. So misty overcast conditions. Warwick Lupton going past some of the smaller traffic, looking to tie up yet another Motorsport Cup crown. You've got to say the boats run like clockwork right throughout the weekend. And that's paramount in these type of races with GP hydroplanes. Combination of speed, finishing races, and reliability. So the white flag is out. Warwick Lupton streaks down the back straight at over 220 kilometres an hour. Cruising to the finish line to tie up the second heat. And another Motorsport Cup trophy. Lupton with the victory. And that's a fantastic reward considering the amount of work and preparation that goes into these boats and the development of this Annihilator race boat's hull. Disappointment for Ken Lupton and Lucas Oils. So Warwick Lupton with the victory. He takes out the Motorsport Cup for 2015. Raymond Hart in second ahead of Steve Priest and TNT. Giant killing performance in the Formula One tunnel.
Well, Warwick Lupton, 2015 Motorsport Cup. Lupton name on it yet again, eh?
Yeah, no, pretty awesome, eh? The old fellas are back, I'd say. We gave those young guys a lesson, so there was no problem. We're pretty happy.
Pretty hard work, actually, and second's a good result, but not the one we came here to get. So, but overall, the boat's all good, and yeah, we're wrapped that we've got a second. We have to come back and get number one next year.
Yeah, we unfortunately had a little bit of bad luck with the fuel cable. It slipped, so we couldn't get fuel to the engine, which stopped us from starting at the start there. But race one was really good for us.
So disappointment there for Jack Lupton, but Warwick Lupton, the overall victor for the 90th running of the Motorsport Cup, ahead of Raymond Hart. Jack Lupton in third, enough from his first heat win to salvage that. Steve Priest fourth, Ken Lupton fifth, David Alexander in sixth. So Warwick Lupton gets presented with the Motorsport Cup, certainly not for the first time. Warwick Lupton with the victory from South Island's Raymond Hart, Jack Lupton in third, and the total annihilated team celebrating victory here at Lake Karapiro. Warwick even gets a free Motorsport out of it. Welcome back to Lake Karapiro. One final race of the weekend for the top 10 fastest boats overall, the Dennis Taylor Memorial. This will feature the GP Hydroplanes, some of the Formula One tunnels, and the Grand National boats. And as an extra bonus, a beach start. On board with Jack Lupton, just struggling to get away. Now that's Jamie Lee Lupton, Warwick Lupton's daughter in Annihilator Race Boats. She's got a fantastic start, but down the inside, it's Raymond Hart and the boss. Jack Lupton now gets away. He's about a quarter of a lap down on the rest of the field. So Raymond Hart leads in the boss. Water a little bit flatter at the end of the weekend. Would expect this northern turn, though, to chop up a little bit with more traffic out there on the race course. Very wide line there from Jamie Lee Lupton. Jamie's more used to sitting in the navigator's seat alongside Duncan Wilson in the jet sprint boats. She's done that for a good few seasons. On board with Raymond Hart, race leader here in the boss. Being chased by Jamie Lee Lupton. First time I've certainly seen Jamie Lee at the wheel of Annihilator Race Boats. Fantastic opportunity. It's already Raymond Hart just in amongst some of the back markers, some of the smaller Grand National type boats. Modified Hydroplane class boats. See that northern turn just chopping up. Beautiful and flat on the front straight. Boss just riding sponson to sponson. Before Raymond Hart got in this boat, American J. Michael Kelly had been racing the boss. This is impressive from Jamie Lee Lupton. It's been a good 3 or 4 seasons, as I said, sitting alongside Duncan Wilson, navigating alongside in the lethal injection superboat. Well, that involves a jet sprint course. Huge G's on turns. There'll be some G's involved here. Nowhere near the top speed in a jet sprint boat to what you will see in these GP hydroplanes, capable of up to 270 kilometres an hour. Raymond Hart looks to be cruising. Down here on the front straight in the boss. Should be aware where Jamie Lee Lupton is on the race course. There's David Alexander still getting to grips with the Steeler. Beautiful paint job on this boat with the distinctive shark painted on the cockpit. 2012 Henderson Old Hull. DNF'd in the second heat of the Motorsport Cup, unfortunately. On board here with Alexander. He's got the adjustable front canard wing. Very, very rough water here for the boss. Jamie Lee Lupton staying with him. You can see how close they get to the waterfront here on the lake at Karapiro. Amazing spectator viewing off the grass bank. Final lap, white flag is out for Raymond Hart, looking to take out what effectively is the flying farewell, the Dennis Taylor Memorial. Nice and tight to the markers. This is Miss Aberdeen, one of the Grand National boats. Small block forward power, as opposed to the big 510 big blocks. Jack Lupton out there missed the start. So he's a bit further down the order in GP 57. Again, great shots. See how close they get to the waterfront. Going by the dock area and the cranes, which crane the boats in and out of the water in between heats. Down to the checkered flag. It will be Raymond Hart taking out the flying farewell. I think Lupton slowing in the background. Jamie Lee Lupton in Annihilator Raceboats. Just caught a glimpse of the boat slowing in the water. Hart takes the victory, and drama here. A big fire on board Annihilator Raceboats. Jamie Lee is out of the boat. The rescue crew right there with her, but that is a big fire. Drama here on Lake Karapiro. Jack Lupton's gone by just to help throw some water on the boat. Rescue one's there. They've got the extinguishers on. This is a big, big fire. Devastating end of the weekend.
Just looks as though we've split a couple of fuel lines into the port nozzles, and it sprayed fuel everywhere, and Jamie was driving, and obviously a bit of a fire, so we've got a bit of an issue.
From the dramas of Lake Karapiro, the teams now head south for round 3 of the Formula One Tunnel Series and the GP Hydroplanes on Lake Rotoiti in Nelson.